Joining me now is Susan Madden, who is the head of medical education at the University of East Anglia. She has more than 20 years of experience in higher education and has led major initiatives that help shape the next generation of healthcare professionals. She also has a background in physiotherapy. Hello and welcome to the AICON podcast, where we speak to higher education institutions from across the world to understand what's happening in the ever-changing world of education. Today, we're at the University of East Anglia. In fact, this background was also seen in the movie Avengers: Age of Ultron. We have some very interesting conversations lined up today. My name is Janhavi, and those conversations are brought to you by Java and Skoda. Professor Madden, thank you so much for your time and joining with me today. You have a lovely campus and building over here at the University of East Anglia. Thank you for having us, first of all.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. It's a delight to be able to welcome you all today.
I'm also going to talk to you a little bit about your work and research and the various things that you've been doing.
Yes.
So you've worked across healthcare, you've also worked across education. What's that been like for you? What's your life and your journey been like?
So I qualified as a physiotherapist over 25 years ago. I was always interested in holistic care of people. So I took a PhD in medical sociology. After I finished my PhD, I then went into research and development work. But I always loved the university sector. I always loved education. So I returned to education, higher education. And during that time, I was able to work with professional backgrounds, not just physiotherapists, occupational therapists, speech and language therapists, then eventually nursing. And then I was lucky enough to be able to work in medicine. And during that time, my portfolio, my career has developed very much into sort of more leadership type of education. So I now am head of Department of Medical Education and also the deputy head of schools. So a very varied career, but although I've worked across many different professionals in the healthcare medicine, there's similarities across all of them. Good curriculum design, good, exceptional student experience, working with NHS partners, seeing how the NHS has evolved and what the needs of the workforce are, how they have evolved. So I feel like I've had this long journey through NHS workforce, but actually there's always the core element of making sure patient care is exceptional, the student experience is exceptional, and producing a workforce that will be fit for the next 30, 40 years.
Right. You've spent 20 years in higher education, right? What's that journey been like in terms of teaching? Because you've also been so involved in the healthcare side of things, but also teaching must be quite different.
Yes, when I started in education, it was very, very different. So it was very much a traditional, you would get your information from the academic. So as an academic, I would hold the knowledge and I would then share that knowledge with our students. I used to teach a lot of research methods, evidence-based practice. And it was very much, students would have their education at a set time in the classroom. They may go away and read some books or some articles. An assessment may be an essay or an exam. Now, of course, we have virtual learning environments. We have things like YouTube. We have so many different opportunities for students to access the information. Really, our role as educators now, I feel, is about how students use that knowledge and developing those critical thinking skills and that critical analysis. So when they find the knowledge and the information, they're able to apply it and critique it in a much higher level, which we never sort of, whilst we developed those critical thinking skills 20, 30 years ago, a core part of our role was still very much we would find the information, we would find the knowledge for them. So When I started in higher education, we really didn't have the internet, which does feel slightly strange to talk about it like that. But accessing the internet was still very difficult. The information on the internet was still very limited. Whereas now for our students, there's almost so much information out there. It's how we guide them through that so that they can critically analyse it and feel confident that the knowledge they're finding is of a strong enough evidence base, really. Now, of course, we've got AI, we have got all of our ChatGPT, generative AI, and now we're taking the next step forward and trying to really support our students about how they will then use that, not just now, but in the future.
Got it. And I must congratulate you because I believe you've just completed your MBA.
Yes, literally last month I've just submitted my final piece of work for my MBA. Yes. So.
I have to ask, how have you managed that and being the head of the medical education department?
Well, it has been very difficult. There's been lots of late nights and weekends, but I think I was very, very fortunate that I've done my MBA at the business school at the University of East Anglia. And I've really been able to utilise the knowledge and skills developed during my MBA and then been able to apply them directly in my workplace. So as I've been head of department, as I've shaped the department, I've been able to draw directly from that experience and that educational development. So whilst it has been incredibly intense, it's also allowed me to really enhance the education department and allowed me to complete the MBA at the same time.
Wonderful. Something that you're also very passionate about is, I believe, ensuring that there's proper development of the NHS workforce.
Yes.
Right? What does that mean to you? Are there challenges that you believe that must be solved as soon as possible and are really pressing?
Well, I think that obviously one of the biggest challenges for the NHS is we have a large elderly population in our region. We have health inequalities, and it's really thinking about how we can develop a workforce that's really going to support that population. We will always have people who are acutely unwell, people who have cancers, but actually we need to think about our wider population. So one of the innovations that we have brought in the school is we've developed a graduate entry medicine programme, and that very much is looking at the rural and coastal populations of our region. So we want our students to train in those areas, to really spend time with the population so they understand the complexities of living with long-term conditions. And I think that goes across all of our workforce. When people have these long-term conditions, often have 3 or 4 conditions at the same time, how do we maximise an individual's quality of life so they can really live a good, healthy, well life, rather than just treating a particular condition at a particular time. And I think that is a real challenge for all of us, and that's what we're looking at in the future for our school, but also making sure that our graduates still feel able to become surgeons if they want to work as acute physicians. Our head of school is a haematologist. We still need those specialists as well, but it is thinking about our wider population and their needs.
Right. And lastly, what's one major change that you think we must make while, essentially raising the next generation of healthcare professionals?
I think obviously AI is a massive change for us, not just in terms of the sort of generative AI, but also thinking about how we can utilise simulation that comes through to enhance the education of our students and our postgraduate students. But also some of the other tools, for example, we're doing a lot of work around synthetic voice generation at the moment. How can we develop that to really support our student experience and our patient experience, actually? So that is a really critical element for us at the moment because it changes so quickly. Every day something develops. So we're trying to support our students to use it. We're trying to integrate it within our curriculum whilst also thinking about how it's going to be used in the NHS.
Wow, wonderful. Thank you so much for your time. It's been lovely chatting with you, Professor Susan. Really had a wonderful chat with you, and thank you so much.
And thank you so much for visiting. It's been a delight to have you all here.
Thank you so much for having us here.
Thank you.